entire week at these World Curling Championships. Entering the final draw of round-robin play, Martin and Canada are 8-0 and guaranteed first place in the overall standings. And in their final round, Martin and Canada will play Germany. It will be Andy Kapp and his rink from Fusen, hoping to hand Canada their first loss. We'll also keep an eye on the rink from the United States. Steve Brown of Madison, Wisconsin, after losing his first three, has won 5 in a row and needs one more win to guarantee himself a spot in the Final Four. World Curling Championships, and let's show you the men's standings heading into the final round-robin play. Canada alone at 8-0, Scotland, Norway 6-2, and also guaranteed spots at this point in the Final Four. The United States at 5-3, Switzerland at 4-4, as well as Sweden. They still have a chance to be in tiebreakers, but they're going to need some help. Germany, France, Denmark, and Finland round out the men's standing. Now, this is the way the tie-breaking situation looks. If the United States wins, there's no tiebreaker, and they're playing Norway and Eigil Ramsfjell. If the United States loses and Switzerland and Sweden lose, no tiebreaker. If the United States loses and Switzerland or Sweden win, there'll be one tiebreaker. If the U.S. loses and Switzerland and Sweden both win, then there will be two tiebreakers. Linda Moore alongside. Good Friday to you as well as we begin our final day of men's round-robin play. Canada, I don't know, do you take this one, do you want to win them all, or do you say, we're in?
You want some consistency. Winning is fun, and nobody wants to go out there and play badly, especially at this point of the round-robin. Germany would like this game. Last year was not a good year for Germany in Västerås. They would like to come out with a good one, and they said this morning to me, this is Canada's first loss coming up.
At the beginning of the week, I think it's fair to say we felt a little sorry for Steve Brown of the United States. He had lost his first three. You won't find a nicer man in the world of curling. This will probably, you would think, if he can make it to the Final Four, do something for the sport. I mean, otherwise, he gets no attention as it is. Hopefully this would do something for him, get him some attention, especially a spot in the Olympics.
The Olympics should mean something in the U.S. I would like to think so, being a part of the Olympic team last time with Canada. I would like to see curling do well in the States. It's so close to Canada. We have a great club south of Vancouver in Seattle, and I think it would help them. I hope it does.
Of course, our featured game is Canada against Germany, but we will be paying close attention to the game between Norway and the United States. And Ray is standing by with the U.S. skip Steve Brown. And Ray, a good Friday morning to you as well.
Good morning on Good Friday to you, Mr. Router. Stevie, the ball's in your court.
Well, we're excited about it. After being 0-3, we didn't think we'd ever get a chance to play ball again. So now we're back in it, and it is in our hands.
You've played Eigil before. Would you have anything special for him today?
Well, Eigil hasn't seen us look real sharp a lot of times, so hopefully maybe he's half asleep thinking he's got an easy one.
Well, Steve, it's a great comeback because you lost your first 3 games and you just fought yourself right back into contention.
That, I think, we really feel good about because it really was tough. We played Martin in the opener. We knew that'd be tough, and I wasn't too nervous. We played Scotland in the second game, and I wasn't too nervous, and we lost both of those, and all of a sudden we're playing France, a team we're supposed to win against, and I was so nervous I couldn't hardly throw the rock out in that game, and we got dumped in that game, too, and we're 0-3, and at that point, you just kind of think, geez, you got to regroup, and everything has fallen into place, and we have been able to reel off 5 in a row, so now we are excited about everything.
It shows great character. Steve, I have to ask you one question. You're very deliberate in the hack, and you take a lot of time, which is great. I know you're concentrating, but you seem to be looking down at your little brush a lot. Is there something you're reading or looking for? Or?
Me and the stick go back a long ways together. I think I've been using that little shooting stick for 20 years, and I do have a little tiny notch on it that just making sure I put my finger in the same spot every time. But the stick is pretty well battered. It's got staples in it. It's got a lot of glue. It's got tape. But it is in better shape than my knee and my hip and my back. So we're going to go out together.
As I say, you'd be hard-pressed to find a nicer man in the world of curling. And Steve Brown. We'll keep our eye on that. And, of course, our feature game, Germany against Canada. It is Kapp, Martin, The 91 Canada Safeway World Curling Championships are the games that mean something in this 18th round of the World Curling Championships. Sweden against Scotland. Scotland it is in. Sweden at 4-4 must win and hope for a U.S. loss. Norway against the U.S. Norway is in. U.S. can be in as well if they win. And Switzerland against Finland. The Swiss also at 4-4 must win against Finland. Lots of people for an early morning here at these World Curling Championships at the Winnipeg Arena. And in our featured game, representing Germany from the Fusen Curling Club. On the left is the 23-year-old skip, Andy Kapp. Florian Sorgivel is the third. Christoph Huber is the second. And Michael Scheffer is the lead. The Canadian rink undefeated with 8 straight wins. The skip, Kevin Martin on the left. Kevin Park throws third stones. Dan Petrick and Don Bartlett is lead. Canada from the Avonayre Curling Club in Edmonton, Alberta. Germany has won the coin toss, and so they will have last stone, and they are also throwing the red rocks. Canada will throw yellow stones and the first stone from the 30-year-old Canadian lead. This is Don Bartlett.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how they react, Linda. It's kind of hard to get yourself up to every game, and they are in first place, so it's also hard to go out there and not, you know, not concentrate, because you've been working hard all week on that, and you hate to get out of the rhythm that you know, that's put you in this position. The rhythm he had in the Brier, the rhythm he obviously had here this week. So
22-year-old Michael Scheffer is the German lead. He studies biochemistry at the University of Munich. Should tell everyone as well, there is one more game in this round-robin draw, the final for the men, and it is Denmark against France. Christian Thune Jacobsen of Copenhagen at 1-7, and France, Dominic Dupont-Roch of Megève 2-6. Disappointing week for the rink from Denmark.
And that's really the battle for the bottom of the standings. Of course, the last 2 teams in this World Championship have to go into the challenge round, so that game has some importance, certainly for the teams playing it.
Kevin gets a chance to throw up a guard here.
As you said, Ray, I think the Canadian team would like to come out and throw with consistency and do some things well that they've been doing all week, but not worry about the score at the end of the game. Just keep the communication up and throw some rocks.
Yeah, you want to just, you know, keep the rhythm and hang on to the timing. The one nice thing about, you know, we've discussed semifinals or 5 of the finals if you win the round robin. There's a lot of discussion that goes on about sitting around for 2 days and waiting for that final to, you know, you're in it. That's nice, and but it can be difficult just sitting. Mind you, it didn't hurt Kevin at the Brier, so. But at the World Championships, the only thing that he gets, and I think it's a big factor, to be honest with you, he's assured himself of last rock in both semifinal and final.
The Canadian second is 25-year-old Dan Petrick, the fourth-year commerce student at the University of Alberta.
Okay, we got lots of room. Just for weight. Yep, hurry. Okay, we got room.
No weight.
Oh, not bad for me. Perfect.
We're there. No weight.
Mine's perfect, guys. Top 8. Let's go. Buried.
I think the thing that really impresses you about this team is the fact that the combination of their abilities, in the sense that they certainly peel as well as any team we've ever seen, and yet they play. We saw in many games throughout the Brier, and again here this week, especially that game against Scotland. We've seen the whole team's ability to play, the come-arounds, the freezes, the tap-backs, to play the controlled weight shots. I'm really impressed with the entire team. They have tremendous ability to be able to switch from one style to the other with a great deal of rhythm and ease.
Certainly in the game against Scotland, right down to the 10th end, where Scotland had a chance for the win, and Kevin Park threw in a perfect freeze around the guard to get Canada out of that end. So they've shown every type of shot you want to see.
And Vic, if you think back, we didn't know a lot about Kevin Martin when he came to the Brier, and what we had heard is that really they just were a defensive curling team. They had saw figures like they had only 21 points scored against them, and only scored a total of 32 points in all their play-down situations and to get themselves to the Brier. And then all of a sudden we saw another side. Yes, we saw him take Jeff Stoughton, take 2 points in the first end against Jeff Stoughton and run it through 10 with a great amount of ability. But we also saw him go to the offense whenever he had to. So very, very impressed with this young team, and I think we're going to see a lot of Kevin Martin in the future. The other little thing that's kind of interesting is that he's an ice maker as well. We talked about that, and that only goes to prove, Lyndon, that you must throw rocks. You must practice. Russ Howard throws 100 stones a day. You've heard him talk about it. And Kevin, he throws rocks every day. And I don't care who you are. It's like every other sport. The golfer has to hit golf balls. The tennis player has to work on his serves and his backhands. And the curler has to throw in practice sessions. It's the only time you can iron out any of the wrinkles, because you cannot make a change of any nature throughout a game situation.
I was a great believer in practice as well. Regular practice sessions, regular bonspiels, constantly working on the game.
Never off, never off, never off. Go real hard. Okay. Head knife. Five-year-old Florian Zorgiebel studies chemical engineering at the University of Munich.
The Fusen team has to play on a hockey ice. Their curling is put onto hockey ice, and they play once in a while during the week. It isn't great ice. I played there a couple of years ago. It's very slanted, and one turn curls and the other falls. It's something that a lot of the countries that are developing have problems with. It's hard to get good strategy and good shot making when your ice is not as superior as it is in Canada. And they had a very disappointing year last year. Andy Kapp in Westeros was at the bottom of the standings at the end of the week and had to re-qualify this year for Germany. Came a little deep. It gives Canada the chance to draw in behind. They won't try to draw to the back rock. They'll try and sit in front of the tee line behind the guard.
We're in the first end of this 18th round game, the final men's round-robin competition here at these World Curling Championships. Canada looking to go undefeated at 9-0, playing Germany. And the Canadians do have last rock advantage in this first end. Oh, pardon me, Germany has last rock advantage.
They didn't mind it coming that deep, but they were just trying to play the draw because it still gives Germany a chance to sit shot rock in front of that stone.
Second stone for the German third.
Well, they got it started right away. They jumped on it immediately, and it just over-curled.
Yeah, just straighten them back, yeah.
They have to be
If you can
careful.
get center line.
Try and listen. Germany's got to be careful and not to take the same ice. In other words, you must ice your throwers to the way they release the stones. And Kevin Park, for example, puts a lot of turn on the handle, so his rocks will not
have this splitting the center line.
curl as quickly at the beginning as people that throw with what we refer to as a very soft or free release.
We noticed that, I think, particularly in the women's games, and the frustration that maybe Julie Sutton in her rink felt at times because she saw other teams get a lot of movement with their stones, and she wasn't getting it. And she suggests, Linda, you can't, and Ray does as well, you can't watch the other people. You still have to play your game and do the things that got you there.
Yeah, you can't change in the middle. Ray just said you practice all year to have a certain type of delivery and throw the rock a certain way, and in the middle of a world championship, you can't start changing your release to follow down the other team.
Oh, Kevin.
Kevin Martin with his first stone into the top of the 12. Canada lying one with backing at the back of the 8.
Threw that plenty hard enough.
Liegt Herr Gard falsch, doch? Für die Scheiße. Ha? Er kommt aus dem Winkel raus. Scheiße ist das. Schnell muss er kommen. Kann fast nichts machen.
Well, they're trying to line up a double takeout on the two Canadian stones.
Zwei. Ja, kommt schneller. Schneller hat er am Eck erwischen. Ein bisschen weniger Eis. Stark schneller. Ein bisschen weniger.
Little less.
Okay.
Been a long week for those two fellas. Don Bartlett and Dan Petrick have done a lot of sweeping, and very good sweeping. They work hard. When we've had the mic on Dan, he's been working away and talking to the other players, encouraging them.
Well, he's going to try and run this through, obviously.
23-year-old Andy Kapp studies economics at the University of Kempton. And won't be able to get that Canadian stone at the back of the 8.
Another guard.
Ja, ganz am Schluss, gell? Ja. Super tight nochmal.
Line's good. No, it's lighter.
Clean it. Clean.
Oh,
Clean.
spin.
Got a curl.
Split the center line, guys. Split the center line.
Let it curl a little. Oh, line's good. Wall.
Don't let it bend too far.
Wall, just clean.
Line's
clean,
perfect right there.
Clean.
Oh.
That's good. Good shot.
Two lovely guards put up by Canada and Kevin Martin.
Da kippt er mal wahrscheinlich weg, gell?
Well, Kevin came in a little too tight with his first one, and he didn't make that mistake again. And that's another thing that we've seen on a regular basis with this team. They make the odd error, but boy, they don't make them twice. And the other thing is, Dick, you don't want to give him a second chance.
No.
Because he just jumps all over you.
Okay.
Looks like Andy's going to try and play the out-turn draw between that stone just thrown by Kevin Martin and the guard to the right of center line as we look at it. It's about the only way he can get shot rock. He'd have to go too wide, I think, with the in-turn around the red guard.
This will be the final stone of this first end of play. Canada lying 1, and Germany trying to hit full 8, even a piece of the 4.
It's not breaking off center line.
It was close. If it comes, he had the weight. He was there with the weight.
It wrecks in front. Kevin Park taps the 1 Canadian stone at the back of the 8-foot. And Canada will open with a steal of 1 here in round 18 of the Canada Safeway World Curling Championships. And we're in Winnipeg. This is their first end. Final stone for Marcus Eigil of Beal. The hit for 2 on a finished stone at the top of the 4. Gets the bump across, and good thing he had a little backing because he would have lost the shooter there. 2-0. Switzerland leading Finland. The Swiss must win to stay alive. Sweden, Scotland, and this is the final stone for Scotland with last rock, David Smith. The Swedes lying 1, back 4. Hidden right now by the 3rd Graham Connell. But this draw to the 4-foot will come up just a little light. There's the red stone, and the Swedes in a must-win situation steal 1 in the first end. The other important game, of course, the United States against Norway, and they blanket Steve Brown with last rock. And if he wins it, there will be no tiebreakers. He can guarantee himself a place in the Final 4. Now we want to go live. Second end action. Switzerland and Finland. The Swiss leading 2-0. This the final stone for the Finnish skip, Jussi Pavelneve of Helsinki, Finland, with a record of 1-7. As he hits against 2 Swiss stones, makes the takeout. Now where will the shooter go? The shooter will go, and it's gone. It's a steal of 1 for Switzerland, and they now lead 3-0. Going to the third end again, the Swiss must win. Again, this is what will happen through men's tiebreakers. If the U.S. wins over Norway, there will be no tiebreakers. If the U.S. loses and Switzerland and Sweden both lose, no tiebreaker. If the U.S. loses and either Switzerland or Sweden win, there will be 1. And if the U.S. loses and both Switzerland and Sweden win, we'd have 2 tiebreakers at these World Curling Championships. As we go to the second end of play, Canada stealing 1 over with Germany in the first, and the Germans again will have last draw.
There is the battle for the Olympic spot as well. Although the French team is down at the bottom of the standings, they are guaranteed a spot in the Olympics because they are the host nation. So for Germany to have a chance, they also must hope that Switzerland or Sweden loses, and then they would play off for the 6th and final Olympic berth.
Oh, fake.
Yep.
I'm fake.
Update for you, the game between the United States and Norway as they play the second end. The U.S. with last rock blanked the first end, and this is the final stone for Steve Brown of Madison with a record of 5-3, and the wide open draw for 2. Any piece of the paint will put the U.S. on the board with a pair, and there it is, 4-foot, and Steve Brown takes the lead over Eigil Ramsfjell 2-0. Again, we emphasize if the U.S. wins it, they are guaranteed themselves a spot in the Final Four, and there will be no tiebreakers, and a dramatic turnaround for the United States, who had lost their first 3 games.
Well, you heard Steve Brown say, too, Vic, that, you know, he really has never had a great game with Eigil, so I think not only does he want to cinch his berth in this in the semifinals, I think he would really like to come up big against the, you know, the world champion, 3-time world champion.
A lot of things could happen as far as who would play whom tomorrow with the various games. Sweden and Scotland playing on the other sheet. Last night we saw on the ladies' side that in one draw things dramatically changed as far as which position each person was in, and thus who would play in the semifinals.
Well, the way I work it out, Linda, if Stevie Brown wins this game, then Canada will play Eigil Ramsfjell because he'll be in 4th spot. And Scotland will play Stevie Brown. That's the way my pencil works.
Got a natural raise in there? How about that raise?
The Canadian third is Kevin Park, and this is his first stone, playing the second end. Canada leading Germany 1-0.
And the Rays, they're playing. Tapping a rock back that sits about a foot and a half above the rings and coming into view any moment. There it is. That's the perfect time to play a raise. You got 3 stones you can raise it behind. Curled a little too much.
Who were the big shooters on Thursday? The Canadian lead, Donnie Bartlett at 87%, was number 1 among leads. Dan Petrick was tops among seconds. Kevin Park was the best third. And David Smith of Scotland was the number 1 skip at 81%.
Gonna run that stone off. Stone that was tapped back. Kapp felt it was too close to the rings to leave. He's right. This gives Kevin Martin a chance to go around the 2 long guards now, and there's the call.
I guess if there was one thing I would suggest that some of the European teams would work on perhaps after this World Championship is playing those more quiet shots, Ray, because if they had hit and stuck on that front guard, they would have had a potential raise later. They play a lot of weight. It's hard to control that weight, and they rolled off the shot.
Good point. We've seen it all week, but they really do play a lot of weight on their shots. Speaking of a lot of weight.
All right.
Chance for Andy Kapp to get in there first now. There's the call.
The German third is Florian Sorgiebel.
On this sheet, which is great for us to see.
Well, they really jumped on it immediately. He must have been inside again because they didn't take a lot of ice.
Speaking of ice, we actually haven't mentioned the ice maker of this championship event, and I think the ice has been very good all week, and we should commend Don Atkinson, the local ice maker, who has put in the ice here at the Winnipeg Arena. for making it a very entertaining week for us, the people at home, and all the spectators in the stands.
And there's a lot of spectators here again this morning. I think one of the problems that Andy Kapp is having is that he's taking the same ice as Kevin Martin on many of those shots, and they all together have, both teams have different releases. And Andy's team, the Stones, are starting to go earlier, and as a result, he's wrecking on a number of guards. You can't call your ice based on your opposition's releases.
This is the first stone for the Canadian skip Kevin Martin as we play the second end. Canada leading Germany 1-0.
They're playing the wick if they can.
Right back.
The tick.
First goes. Okay.
I don't think it did.
Oh, here we go. They were trying to redirect the stone behind the center guard, and it certainly didn't stick that much. If it touched, it was pretty close.
They tried to tick off the corner guard.
Weil da legen sie halt so drauf. Ja. Schon gut. Guck mal. Oder wir legen gleich einen rein. Das ist auch eine Möglichkeit. Wahrscheinlich gescheiter. Das machen wir ja alles total rund, oder? Gleich reinlegen, das ist immer ein bisschen die Schwierigkeit da. Scheiße.
Well, he's going to play this back stone, this one right here. I'll just wait till he clears the way and try and get the roll back into here. This area here, that's what they're talking about.
The German skip is named Andy Kapp. And he admits when he first came to Canada to play, people would chuckle at his name, Andy Kapp, and then they pointed out the fact that, yes, there's a cartoon here. That's why we chuckle. Your name is Andy Kapp. The cartoon is Andy Kapp. He says, yeah, but in Germany, the cartoon runs there, and the name of the cartoon there is Willie Wacker. So he didn't understand why everybody was chuckling at Andy Kapp.
They were trying to play
trying
to play the raise for the draw, and it's going to be all right as far as line, but will it stop?
No, it won't, and Canada's still lying one back 12.
I think that was a good shot, either the draw around or the raise. I wouldn't have gone after the backstone either, but unfortunately for Andy, it didn't work for him.
I think getting around that with the guard, with the draw, was going to be tough.
The guard. A biter isn't bad, but no deeper than a biter.
So this is going to be a great amount of movement there.
Hole.
This the final stone for Canada. Germany does have last rock here in the second.
Line's good.
Hurry. Line's good. Hurry. Get it over. Okay.
Got a room.
Okay.
That's why Kevin was trying to... There's just no curl there at all.
Oh, biter. Quick. Hurry.
Actually, he's falling back there, Linda.
Plugged the hole nicely, so Andy is deciding to play the draw on the wide side. The weight over here will be different than down the center, I'm sure. Haven't played this side of the sheet very much, and not this wide on the sheet. Andy thought the same thing, added a bit of weight.
It'll slide too far, and it will be a steal of one, certainly. Now they're looking at the two biters around the edge of the 12-foot. One at the top. Kevin Martin moves to the one at the back. It's certainly one steal of one for Canada. Another look. One of measures, says Florian Sorgivel.
Nah. No, just one. One yellow.
Just one yellow, says Kevin Park. And so Canada will take a 2-0 lead after 2 ends of play here in this 18th round of the Canada Safeway World Curling Championships. Now we want to go live to the game between the United States and Norway as they play the third end, the U.S. leading 2-0 over Eigil Ramsfjell. Norway throwing yellow stones and lying one. That stone in the pocket of the 4-foot. And this will be the first stone for the Norwegian skip from Oslo in his 13th World Championship appearance.
That's a great shot.
And he draws it to bite a piece of the button and lies two.
This is a tough decision for Steve, because if he goes after the front rock and doesn't make the shot on the run through or the tap back on the Norwegian stone at the top of the button, then he opens things up potentially to give Norway a chance for 3.
It's interesting. I just take a look at the clock, and you don't see in games that the U.S. play where they are playing faster than other rinks, but in fact they have 2 minutes difference.
Come off of that.
With the rink with Norway.
How's the turn? The turn for all turns here. Not a lot of it. Say about an inch into the rock.
Play the run through, and you're right. It was a great shot by Eigil. Just really left Stevie only one chance, and that's to run the stone back.
Right straight back, buddy.
If we angle it into theirs, we get the double roll. And if we angle ours into our own, pick up the double.
Which one are you talking about?
The angle that front one into our red one, we'll get the double.
Yeah, well,
Straight back's good.
yeah, we'll shoot for the, because that way we got, you know, basically the straight back or the crotch would be all right.
Okay. What way are we playing?
3.
The U.S. leading 2-0 over Norway as they play the third end.
Straight 3.
This will be the last stone for the U.S. skip, Steve Brown of Madison. Norway with last rock. Straight back. And he'll still leave the draw for 2 for Eigil Ramsfjell.
Those angles are tough. A little bit off on the front rock, and you can miss the back rock entirely. So that was a good shot by Steve.
We'll take her.
There's some good
Erica
support
Brown.
here. Yep.
Erica Brown is there, of course.
Yeah, part of her junior ladies team.
Wally Henry's daughter.
Making the trip from Madison, Wisconsin. Final stone of the third end, USA-Norway, and the draw for two for Eigil Ramsfjell.
Kom igen! Var det park? Var det park?
He had the draw the last time. This time it'll rub and won't get there. And so the race turns out to give Norway just one. And the U.S. will take a 2-1 lead over Eigil Ramsfjell to the fourth end of play.
Hey! Hey! Hey!
The U.S. can clinch a spot in the Final Four with a win over the former world champion, Eigil Ramsfjell. Now let's go live to the game. Sweden and Scotland as they play the third. Sweden stole one in the first. They blanked two. This will be the final stone for David Smith of Perth as he draws against two Swedish stones, top 12, and the edge of the 8-foot at around 930. So he needs full 8 with his final stone.
With Dan Ole Eriksson's last draw, he made a double takeout and a roll behind the corner guards, forcing David to this draw.
Sweden, along with Switzerland, with records of 4-4, must win and then hope for a U.S. loss. Scotland and Smith will draw the 4-foot for one, and it's now tied 1-1 as they go to the fourth end of play. It's the final day of round-robin play here in Winnipeg. Continuing coverage of these 91 Canada Safeway World Curling Championships. Vic Roeder along with Linda Boer, Ray Turnbull, and our entire curling crew as we watch the game between Canada and Germany. The rink of Kevin Martin from Edmonton, Alberta, looking to win 9 in a row, and they're off to a good start with steals of 1 in 1, 1 in 2, and now we play the third end. Canada leading 2-0 over Andy Kapp.
Well, Kevin's got things going again. Andy, of course, being down 2, is trying to get some offense into his game, and he threw up some corner guards. Kevin went around them, which kind of changed the pace a little bit, and since that point, we're down to Kevin Park's shots now.
Oh, has to bend. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Canada line 1 is biting the top of the 4-foot at 2 o'clock and 1 full in the 8-foot at 6 o'clock, and he was asking Kevin Park for a guard. It looks a little strong.
Yep. There. Yep. Hurry. Okay.
Second stone for the German third, Florian Sorgiebel.
He gets a lot of movement on that in-turn.
The Long Lac Truck Spiel. Our good friend Réal Fournier has made it to Winnipeg, and that'll be held November 7th to the 11th, 1991. The Super Bowl of curling, he calls the Bonspiel in Long Lac, and it draws a lot of the best curlers in the country.
Sure does.
Back foot or two, I guess.
Réal does a lot of hard work on it. He actually does a lot of work in curling in general. Every year at the Heart to Heart in Thunder Bay, he's one of the hardest workers, and his pledges total a great deal of money he's raised.
Line's really good.
Line tight.
Line's really good.
Clean. Roll.
Hurry.
Well, Andy Kapp is really in trouble. By rolling out on that one, Linda, it gives Kevin a chance to...
Hurry. Pull.
Just push this stone back a little bit to the forefoot. The line looks straight. Look at this here. That's called lining them up, isn't it? Holy mackerel.
Aha! This is what we want to know today. Canada carries a 23-win, 2-loss record against Germany into the World Championships. When were the 2 German wins? And both wins were in North America. That's a little nasty early on a Good Friday morning. Well, thank you for the hint. Well, you know what? I think I know one of them too. In fact, because we televised one of them.
He didn't have a lot of choice with that one. He was trying to play the double takeout on the front rock and the stone in the forefoot. By not moving that rock off the forefoot, Kevin Martin puts this anywhere near center line. And he's going to have an extremely difficult shot to try and get in there, even to cut them down.
Yeah, he'll just keep this top 12 foot.
Yeah, even tight, don't matter.
Out in front. Anywhere from a 1.5 foot or so to the top of the 12 foot is perfect.
This the last stone for Canada and Kevin Martin here in this third, leading 2-0. The Germans have last rock.
Okay, here it comes. Good.
You want it a little bit tighter than that, I think, but good shot. Try and hear their comments.
Floats so bad if you put it back.
Talking about the
Draw
outturn.
to the edge of the pin. I think we were playing outturn anyway. Back forefoot.
You heard Kevin say he has a straight draw to the edge of the pin. In other words, he has to catch a part of the button. This is a very difficult
Yeah, it's
shot.
a tough one. They were thinking he might have that outturn tap back to the one Canadian stone on the edge of the button. Problem being, the ice is so tricky. If you're out there a little bit, it goes so straight, it might not ever get into the rock.
Except this isn't any easier than that,
No,
I can
it's
tell you
not.
that.
Drawing against 2 Canadian stones.
Well, that's just taking off. You're going to have to work on it. Great sliding.
Looks like it may be Canada. Quick glimpse.
What a great try.
It is Kevin Park saying Canada.
What a terrific
It is.
try.
Florian
That was
Sorgiebel
tough.
acknowledges that as well. Steal of one, but what a great try by Andy Kapp, who nearly had a piece of the button. Canada now leading it 3-0 over Germany with 3 straight steals. All right, let's go to the game between Switzerland and Finland. The Swiss leading 3-2 as they play the fourth. This an open draw for 2 for the Swiss skip, Marcus Eigil of Biel. Again, Switzerland with a record of 4-4. They must win and then hope for a U.S. loss against Norway. And there it is. Put 2 on the board for Switzerland, and they lead 5-2 over Finland as they go to the 5th. We're in Winnipeg. It's the 1991 Canada Safeway World Curling Championships. The Canada Safeway World Curling Championships. We want to go now to the game between the USA and Norway, with Steve Brown of Madison, Wisconsin, leading 2-1, playing the 4th. And 2 stones in the 4-foot. The yellow stone belonging to Norway, and the red stone at the back of the 4 belonging to the U.S. Difficult to see or say who is shot stone, but my guess might be Norway.
No,
You think so? It's the red one? Do you think?
No, I think the red stone
Think
is
it
shot.
is the U.S.?
Stevie Brown just played a guard there, so
Take away the raise?
yeah.
Så åpner egentlig ikke opp ganske mye dit, vet du. Ja. Ja, den gule, ja. Ja, hvis jeg tenker hvis jeg treffer på utsida, det er liksom det verste tilfellet. Hvis jeg skal
Here in the standings heading into this final men's draw, Canada alone in first place and guaranteed top position. Scotland, Norway, 6-2, also into the final 4. The United States at 5-3. A win would put them into the final 4, the semi-final. A loss and wins by either Switzerland or Sweden, and we would have either 1 or 2 tiebreakers.
Det holder å treffe en sånn.
I think yeah, the U.S. is shot rock. The red stone is shot rock.
Yeah, with U.S. having last rock, I don't think Steve would have played
No way.
that guard unless he was pretty sure he had that one in there.
Vant det fart. Litt mer, kanskje?
This will be
Playing the double raise, Linda?
Looks like it.
last stone for Norway, the U.S. with last rock.
They have a couple of options. They can play the straight double raise, or they can try and angle it a bit onto their own stone and tap it up.
So he's on his own.
Now enough to bump it up for shot. Yes.
Stevie's guard just went too tight, Linda. He just wanted it out, across the hog line and came in too tight and it allowed that shot.
It's actually one of those things that you never know what to do with those guards, but if they swept it really hard at the end, it might have curled so the angle wasn't right on those two stones either. It's something that's a late decision that has to be made.
But I don't think this one will.
Well, you could have frozen right up to it and
This one don't have
a
it.
better angle, but I think the way to stop it is to play it longer.
There's no way I can cock it so they get two, is there?
Well, if we hit it on this side, maybe.
Either that or draw the button, whichever we think is easiest for a point.
Looking at the raise and worried that if they miss-hit it, they'll promote the other Norwegian stone at the front of the 4-foot in for a second point. I think that's why he's going to go to the draw.
And he's got to have a good chunk of the Safeway button.
Yep. Yeah, because in dimensions there's there's the two shots, and this is the safest of the two.
It's very similar to Andy Kapp's attempt, which was so close just a few moments ago on the other sheet.
It would be the Safeway of the two.
I left that for you.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
I was hoping nobody would go for that. I can't wait for the game between Switzerland and Finland to be finished over there.
Oh, stop.
For that line.
Oh, no, I would never say
You would
that.
never say
I
that?
don't go for the cheap ones.
Since when?
The final stone for the U.S. Steve Brown needs the button.
Easy does it. Easy.
Got the room.
Easy.
Got the curl.
Whoop. Easy. Easy. Whoop. Whoop.
Easy.
Whoop. Stay with it.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Whoop.
Whoa, stay with it.
Needs the button. Needs the button. Needs the button. Did he get there? No, he's going to come up short.
Just brushing. They misbrushed it. He had it all the way. Stevie was saying no, but that's a judgment call by the brushers.
I don't blame you.
Norway
Good
and
try.
Eigil Ramsfjell will steal 1 in 4. And so they're now tied 2-2 going to the 5th end. USA can clinch a spot in the semifinal with a win. Now, an update for you. Sweden and Scotland as they play the 4th. Final stone for the Swedish skip, Dan Ola Eriksson of Karlstad, looking for the raised takeout. He won't get it. The double raised takeout. And Scotland will steal 1, and they lead 2-1 over Sweden. Sweden again must win at 4 and 4, and then hope for a U.S. loss. We're in Winnipeg. And a very important day here at the World Curling Championships. As we return to the game between Canada and Germany, Kevin Martin and his rink with 8 straight wins coming into this final round and leading 3-0 with 3 straight steals of 1 as we go to the 4th end of play.
Well, Kevin Martin's got Andy Kapp in trouble again. This is a good-looking shot here. Is it going to come far enough? We'll take a look and see who shot.
Just thinking back to that draw, first of all, the draw by Andy Kapp. His sweepers worked that all the way. As a matter of fact, they had to sweep it hard just to get by the guard. That one, maybe the one benefit of sweeping with a more upright style. The U.S. sweepers were very low to the ice. Trying to get by the guards was difficult for them. And so when they had to sweep it late, they couldn't really get their brushes back in there as quickly.
I also think, too, you're absolutely right. The other thing is that when you're down low brushing like that, you don't judge as well. I don't care what anybody says. That's the advantage of being upright in your brushing. And that was just a judgment call. I mean, it was a hard one for them to judge, but that's part of their responsibilities. It's the brushers that make those shots. You heard Kevin say that to us during the week in one of his interviews when I said, gee, that was a great draw. He said, well, I didn't make the draw, Ray. The brushers made it. You see the upright styles they use, and look at their heads. Watch their heads. You know, they're watching the rings, Don just took a look there. Dan looked there. They're judging all the time. And there comes a time, Lyndon, I'm sure you'll agree, when the third is yelling, the skipper's yelling, the brusher has to make the decision himself.
And you don't think you can do that when you're down over the handle, over the head of the brush?
We don't think you can do it as well. And then Linda makes the other good point that when you're down there and you've come off of it, Canada's shot, Yellowstone is shot back there. And when you come off it, when you're in a low position, as Linda mentioned, it's so hard to get back into position to start brushing again, and that's exactly what happened there.
Stone for Andy Kapp in the 3rd end, and he almost pulled off a brilliant shot. He needed a piece of the button as well.
The sweepers were on it for line as well as weight, but they worked this one as hard as they could. Perfect line as they get by the guard. If it hadn't touched the Canadian stone at all, it probably would have been in there. Just rubbed the edge of it. Andy was trying to hit the one stone, the Canadian rock, onto his own and chip it in for sharp rock, and it didn't curl up enough. Kevin will try and put this one farther out so that Andy doesn't have that shot with his next one.
Let's take some more, Kev. Let's take some more.
We'll take a look at this last shot. Just once again, going back to what Linda said about the weight, Linda, you know, they really do throw everything up. You know, you don't need that kind of weight to make that shot. You can throw that shot with just over half weight or light bumper weight.
This is the last stone for Canada here in the 4th.
Line's good.
Line's good.
Canada line 1 again.
Heading Da kann man sogar noch ein bisschen hinterschieben. Kippt ziemlich runter. Right. Ja.
That was a very good guard. They wanted to guard very close to center line to prevent Andy Kapp from being able to tap back the Canadian stone at the back of the forefoot.
Die Leine. Schau mal, wenn reindrillt, da kriegt man hinten ein bisschen raus.
Andy thought it might curl enough by the guard to do it. We'll have to see here if he can get it to curl.
Yeah, won't have to move that Canadian stone much if he can get across, but a good question of movement. But he can get all the way to...
I didn't think so. The guard is well over, but we'll see how much it curls past the guard.
And now it's a case of weight.
That's a good shot.
Yeah, he'll pick up his one. Everybody agrees. Sorian Florgiebel wants to have another look at those two stones around the edge of the four. And now he nods, yes, it is. 1 for Germany here in the fourth. And so Andy Kapp on the board, trailing 3-1, and Canada will have last rock. Update the game between Switzerland and Finland, 5-2, the Swiss leading, playing the fifth end of play. This is the final stone for Jussi Pavelniemi of Inca, Finland, with a record of 1-7. It's a hit for 2. Makes the takeout. Will the shooter hang on? No, it'll roll out the side, and so it will be 1 for Finland. Switzerland in a must-win situation, leading 5-3 as they go to their fifth end break here at the World Curling Championships in Winnipeg.
Just rock out on the center line. If he leaves it too long, if it doesn't get to that center line, Kevin will just go around it. He's going to hit it. I'm surprised. A little too early in the end, I guess.
Stand back for this one.
Look out. Yep, front.
Boy, Don throws those hard.
Does he ever?
The one he hit leapt over the ropes.
The German second is Michael Schaffer.
Sauber. Ja, dann haben wir uns mal den Garten üben, oder? Dann haben wir uns mal den Garten üben.
Dan Petrick looking to peel the center line guard. That's the way it's done. Update now, the game between Sweden, Scotland, with Scotland leading 2-1. The Swedes 4-4 coming in. Again, must win for Sweden. And Dan-Ola Eriksson of Karlstad. And then if he wins, he has to hope for a U.S. loss. Final stone in the fifth end of play against 1. He needs full 8 foot. The Scottish stone biting the edge of the 8. And it will stop at the back of the 8. And 1 for Sweden in 5 will tie it at 2-2 with David Perth of Scotland. Dan-Ola Eriksson of Karlstad. And right beside that Sweden-Scotland game, our featured match here in this final men's round-robin action, Germany and Canada.
Yep. Good. Good.
Canada so far playing 84% and Germany only 57%, but When you think about it, Andy Kapp is listed at under 50% so far, but look at the shots he's had to make. He didn't quite get there to the button that one end, and of course he doesn't get many points for that one, but it was a great attempt.
Guard. Got to be a little careful with these, otherwise Canada will maybe duck around one. This is going to be in a good spot, though, too tight to the ring, so Kevin will probably hit it.
Canadian third is Kevin Park.
Clean.
It is wide open. Now we want to go to the game between the United States and Norway, as they play the fifth in a 2-2 tie.
Well, Stevie Brown just got an absolutely super roll behind the guard.
Yeah.
You'll see it in a moment. Eigil Ramsfjell came down and
let's play her.
Froze to the face of it.
About this way right here.
On an angle. And it really was a great shot. Otherwise, Stevie was going to
if you hit it on the
pick
head,
up a
we
deuce.
wanted to go out to get one. You know, has to go past the blue.
I think our best bet is let it curl
Yeah,
just
we
that hair,
have to
though.
let it curl as much as we can, but we still have to have enough weight. If we hit it on the head and it hits this one, then it goes out.
And there you get a look at it as we look from the 9 o'clock position
I'm going to throw
across.
about 2 feet to the outside.
Yellowstone belongs to Norway, and that's the corner freeze
Shoot the shooter
Ray was
and just
talking
get that
about.
one back. Just cross it a hair. Even if that one...
Steve thinks he can get the two. The guard is a few feet in front of the house. He thinks he can curl past the guard, hit the side of the yellow rock that's next to the red stone, and pick
2
it
feet
out.
to the house weight.
Yeah.
What Linda's talking about, Vic, is Steve thinks he can get by this guard close enough to hit that stone and push it out this way here. But just very, very quietly.
He has to push it about 3 feet probably with that quiet weight to get the 2 points, as long as the shooter doesn't roll too far.
I think if he gets by the guard, the shooter, you don't have to worry about the shooter. He's got to curl enough, that's all. That was a great shot by Eigil Ramsfjell, because Stevie had that. Steve got a great roll with his first one right in behind that guard. And all Eigil had was this freeze, and he just put it right there.
2-2 tie, playing 5. Final stone for Steve Brown of the United States.
Got that back, got that weight.
Got lots of weight.
How far did it go? Will it go far enough? No.
What a great try that was, Linda.
Take is 1. The U.S. will pick up one. Fighting the top of the 4. And a 3-2 lead over Norway going to their 5th end break. The U.S. lost their first 3 and have come back with 5 straight wins. One more would put them into the semifinal.
Well, one guard too many in our game. Andy put up one guard too many, and it now becomes a 2-on-1 situation for Kevin Martin. And he's going to go right around the guard sitting out in front of the rings just off the center line, and it's about halfway between the hog line and center line. It's a terrific opportunity for Kevin to get around this guard to the top of the 8-foot, top of the 4-foot. You'll see the guard coming into view in a moment. You got to be careful when you get down to skips and third stones throwing up these guards. Now they want this in front of the tee line. That's how you score 2 points. Now all of a sudden Andy Kapp is faced with the same situation that Eigil Ramsfjell was faced with. He's going to have to angle freeze on this stone somehow. just can't, when you get down to your skip stones or your thirds last, you got to be so careful about throwing up guards against these teams that have last rock. It becomes a percentage play, Vic. Kevin with 2 stones left and Germany with 1, you take the chance to get your deuce.
As you say, Canada with last rock here in the 5th, leading 3-1 over Germany.
Andy's had his draw weight, but he doesn't have to have just perfect weight on this. He has to have the perfect line.
Kommt drauf an, wie er neidtyp ist. Soll er eigentlich als Squeeze. Aber wenn er ganz neidtyp ist, dann ist man hinten schieben. Aber eigentlich Squeeze. Ach, echt? Okay. Back. Ja. Hey,
Well, that one curled a lot more than Canada's again.
We've been talking about that. We just can't ice yourself according to the Canadians because they throw much more. There's much more rotation on their handles, and their stones run a little bit straighter earlier, then make their moves. As they're dying.
And so this will be an open draw for 2 for Canada, and Kevin Martin here in end number 5.
It was a great percentage play by Kevin. That's why you couldn't put the guard up there, and you can't do it. Kevin ran them off, ran them off, ran them off, ran them off, ran them off. All of a sudden, 1 too many.
You're going to play the guard, it has to be really tight to the rings.
I really think that you're right. That's if you're on the center line. It'll be very tight to the rings, but you get to be so
We're on the other one,
because teams will go on you.
Don't lose it.
Any piece of the paint will do for Canada, and there it is, 2 for the Canadian skip. Kevin Martin here in end number 5. As Canada look to go through the round robin undefeated, they now lead it. It is 5-1 over Germany. We are in Winnipeg for the 1991 Canada Safeway World Curling Championships, and a reminder to stay with us right after this game for the TSN Turning Point, and it's brought to you by National Trust. Once again, just to emphasize how important this last round is. If the United States wins over Norway, there will be no tiebreakers. If the United States loses, and both Switzerland and Sweden lose as well, no tiebreaker. But if the U.S. wins, and either Switzerland or Sweden win their games, there would be 1 tiebreaker. And if the U.S. should lose, and both Switzerland and Sweden win, we would have 2 tiebreakers for that final playoff spot. And with Canada leading 5-1 over Germany as they take their 5th end break, we want to go and concentrate now on the game between the United States and Norway. As we check the important scores in this final men's draw, Sweden must win in a 2-2 tie with Scotland. The U.S. leading 3-2 over Norway, and Switzerland leading in a must-win for them 5-3 over Finland. And it'll slide on through. Too much weight. Maybe it's the ice call again. Germans seem to be doing that earlier. It's another steal of 1 for Kevin Martin in 6.
It's too heavy, yeah.
And they now lead it. It is 6-1, Canada ahead of Germany. Very important round robin, the final men's play here at these World Championships. Now let's go to the game between Sweden and Scotland in a 2-2 tie. This is the final stone of the 6th for David Smith of Perth. Sweden again, like Switzerland, with a record of 4-4, must win. and then hope for a U.S. loss. The Swedes, the red stone at the back of the 12-foot, lying one. And Smith and Scotland will come up light, and it'll be a steal of one for Andy Kapp.
Oh, yeah, I thought, well, I did turn around shot. I thought it was nose. I mean, I thought it was okay.
Ja,
Yeah.
dat was het terugleggen.
Yeah, double time. Suck her back an inch and the heck with it.
Met 6 goals met 4 hinten, dan kriegst du da irgendwann dann nicht.
All right, now let's go back to the game between Norway and the U.S.
It's my memory, even though I was at the bar. But you were saying you going into the World, you were 27-4. Is that correct?
That's about right, yeah.
Yeah. That's a great record. You're really on a great roll. This game today, a little tough to get up for that, the game today?
Not at all.
No.
No, the guys, I think we might have been up the most of any game this week today. We want to be ready for tomorrow, and the guys showed it. They didn't want to lose. It wasn't even a matter of losing this game. It was a matter of shooting well, throwing the rock well, concentrating, sweeping well, doing everything well, and they did.
Just getting into a flow, and so
Right.
you're set for tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, you don't want to lose the game before the playoffs and getting a bit of a downer, and then all of a sudden a hot team comes up and hammers you on Saturday, and you're out of it. So hopefully we can play the same type of game we did today tomorrow, and we'll be okay, probably.
Kevin, would you have any preference about your game tomorrow, who you'd like to play?
It matters not. We're going to have to play the best team on Sunday as well. So,
That's right, and play
you know,
well, too.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, terrific. That shot better, to be honest with you.
So he bites the top of the 4, and now Eigil Ramsfjell is forced to draw a full 4-foot for the win.
That's where I would have attempted to put it.
Yeah, that's right.
Only I would have come back to the back one.
Yeah, I like the 8-foot call too, Ray.
Get the little one. Get in there.
Eigil just looked over at the Swiss, made a little comment to the Swiss team sitting on the beside the sheet, and they both smiled. He smiled, and
Well, he's not just playing for himself here. He's playing for 3 teams: Norway, the U.S., and Switzerland. It all rests on this shot for those 3 rings.
the American girls' daughters, Jill Jones and Debbie Henry and Erica Brown, are hexing him.
The final stone. He needs full 4-foot. He needs full 4. He needs 4-foot. 4-foot will force a tiebreaker. 4-foot. 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 And the U.S. is into the final 4. The United States steals one in 10, and Steve Brown completes a remarkable comeback. After losing his first 3 games, the United States rattle off 6 straight wins and now guarantee themselves a spot in the semifinals of the World Curling Championships. It's been quite a week in Winnipeg.
The pressure was all on Andy Kapp. You heard Kevin Martin earlier say they wanted to come out, play consistently well, and they applied the pressure every end. Andy Kapp here trying to get in to prevent Canada from scoring 2. He's going to rack on the guard, and Canada will take the 2 points and go on for the win.
Canada would go on to their 9th straight win to complete the round robin undefeated. A cash donation has been made to the Coaching Association of Canada on behalf of TSN and National Trust for the development of amateur coaches in Canada. National Trust helping you secure your future. The United States is into the final 4 of these World Curling Championships, and Ray is standing by with a very happy U.S. skip, Steve Brown.
The semifinals are going to be great.
Well, the semifinal matchup for Canada is against Norway and Eigil Ramsfjell. The Canadians beat Eigil during the round robin, and Eigil is with Ray.
Eigil, it's kind of a funny game in the sense that you had control and it just got away from you at the end there.
Well, it came down to the last stroke, and I knew I had to draw the 4-foot, and fortunately that was too heavy, and well, I feel a little bad. towards my Swiss friends who didn't get the chance to play tiebreak against
Yeah, we got a chance
Stevie.
to take a look at this rock, Eigil, just as you release it. They did a little brushing on it.
Yeah. I told them to be careful right away, and well, we can see them sweeping down there. Now we're halfway at least. Oh, we're almost at home. Okay,
Yeah.
they could have let it go a little bit earlier, I guess. But we haven't been playing that many draws in the last few ends, and earlier in the game there was some debris on the ice, and I guess it was cleared away by that time.
You just didn't dig in. Just a quick question about the ninth end. Did you not give some thought to maybe going around the guard with your first stone with the outturn to maybe try and set up? You played to the open side. The reason behind that?
Well, I think the percentage shot. If we got to blank the end, we were really quite happy. And well, if I was heavy behind the guard, I obviously would have given a chance to try one, to steal one. And well, our thought was to play it on the wide open side and leave him with maybe a double or a hit and roll on top of the other one or something like that. A much more difficult shot.
You didn't have a great game against Canada in the round robin, and the score, maybe the score was no indication of the game, but your feelings about playing Kevin Martin now in the semis?
Well, we're really looking forward to have the opportunity to play Canada again in the semifinals like we did here in '78. The one thing we have to concentrate on is how to handle the corn now. We've been struggling a little bit against US today with the same problem, and I think we're getting it going now, so we're confident going into that game.
Good, thanks, Eigil. Thank you for joining me very much, and good luck in the semifinals tomorrow.
Thanks, Ray.
Vic, Linda?
Ray, thank you very much. So the men's competition is complete. 18 rounds of curling at these 91 Canada Safeway World Curling Championships, in Canada finishes in men's standings alone in first place with 9 straight wins as Kevin Martin goes through undefeated. Scotland will finish second at 7-2. The United States tied with Norway at 6-3, but by virtue of that win over Norway and Eigil Ramsfjell, the U.S. is awarded third spot. Switzerland, 5-4, will finish fifth. Sweden, 6th at 4-5. Germany, France, Denmark, and Finland will finish dead last at 1-8. We'll return with more from Winnipeg and the arena, the 1991 Canada Safeway World Curling Championships, here on TSN.